Truck drivers, what's a creepy story you've got from the middle of nowhere? I was driving through eastern Washington on some state roads. There were no rest stops or cities, but I had done the route enough to know there were these massive dirt areas every 40 miles where you could park safely away from the road. I decided to call it a night and closed my blinds and laid down to watch something on my phone. After roughly an hour, I hear someone try to open the driver's side door. I haven't heard any vehicles on the road the whole time I'm parked, but I get up to peek out the curtains. As I'm looking out into the blackness of the driver's side window, I hear them try the passenger side door. I peek down from the top of the curtain but can't see anything, so I start the truck and kick on the lights. I'm fairly freaked out at this point, so I'm still not opening the curtains but peeking through gaps. Nothing, nobody is standing near either of my doors or parked within sight line. I take a deep breath and close the sleeper curtains too, because for some reason that's going to make things better, right? After laying back down and convincing myself that something blew against the truck and it only sounded like the doors, it was fairly windy outside and a lot of flat ground, I hear what sounds like someone trying to pry open the vents on the sleeper. The door handles start clicking again and the truck starts shifting like someone is climbing on it. I hit the little alarm button in the sleeper hoping to spook them off, but it does nothing but add to the noise of door handles, fingers tapping on windows and chassis, and the hiss of air coming out of the suspension. Then suddenly it stops. A few moments where I can only hear myself breathing and my heart pounding before I hear another truck approach and then drive by. I spent the next few hours waiting for whatever it was to come back, but it never did. In the morning I couldn't find any footprints or damage to my truck, but on every window were tiny human-looking handprints. Like a toddler had licked their hand and stuck it to my window over and over. At what moment did you realize, fuck, I'm old? When a kid said, what's a DVD, not even VHS? How do you wish to die? Glad you asked. I want to be walking down the street whistling a tune when suddenly I am crushed by a massive piano. Non-Americans of Reddit, what is something you do like about Americans? We get study abroad students from the USA come to uni here in the UK. They run the full gamut from supreme extrovert to shy introvert. Almost all are laid back and friendly. I could generalize all day, but there is one thing that seems to be universal among Americans. They discover the wild hedgehogs on campus and are absolutely fascinated by them. There's nothing more heartwarming than watching a group of American 18 to 20-year-olds fawn over the first hedgehog they've ever met. Welcome to Area 52. The site where the military keeps all its stupidest things. What is kept there? You laugh, but funny thing actually, there is a military museum in Germany operated by the German army showing off actual technology and stuff that didn't make it. Right at the entrance there is a wall full of reports of the dumbest accidents happening there. Like a soldier shooting another one in the butt by sitting on his rifle because the stone bench was cold. Or a tank driver that tried to get a jammed shell out of the loader by putting a boom asterisk barrier into the barrel and driving against a wall. I imagine Area 52 would have boxes and boxes of this kind of stuff. Canadians of Reddit, marijuana has been legal for 2 years. What differences have you noticed? As soon as it became legal, the construction site for a massive marijuana farm warehouse thing appeared down the road from my house. If you were an assassin, what would your trademark be that tells people it was you who committed the crime? Draw a mustache and unibrow on their faces. You now have the power to give anyone an orgasm simply by thinking about them. What are you going to do with your newfound power? At first I would only use it for women I was attracted to, in order to seduce them. But after a while I'd probably realize I could use it to fuck with people, maybe even incapacitate them if I did it repeatedly. Then I would basically become a supervillain. Dear sex-having people of Reddit, what advice would you give someone who's about to do it for the first time? I love when I get to regale others with this story. When I was in high school, I had a friend who we figured had the same sensibilities about sex as the rest of us. We had all taken the same sex ed classes, assumed we all watched porn, etc. Guy finally gets himself a girlfriend and things escalate to the point where he's going to have sex for the first time. Apparently, midway through he stops with a strange look. She asked him what was up and, apparently, he told her, "I'm not sure how I'm going to get my balls in there, too." I'd pay money to see the look on her face. Moral of the story, don't try to get the balls in there, too. 2020 is almost coming to end. What are your predictions for 2021? At least one vaccine comes on the market, and very likely multiple ones. Then there's a huge, months-long clusterfuck about distributing them worldwide, convincing people to take them. Dealing with inevitable fuck-ups along the way, like batches of the vaccine not being kept at the right temperature and having to be thrown out, and various events that I can't predict yet for sure. That will sow public distrust in the vaccine. I think eventually a majority of people will be vaccinated, but I would be shocked if it was more than 70% in America, and probably is going to be closer to 50-60%. Then eventually a combination of vaccination, herd immunity, and improved treatment for the disease will get us to the point where the risk associated with catching it is probably not much more serious than the flu. But that's probably going to be well beyond 2021, it might be more like mid to late 2022 before we reach that point. After you die, what would you like to happen to your body? I don't care. I'm done with it, so they can do whatever the hell they want. If you could give 2020 any apocalyptic ending, what would your choice be and why? Donald Trump peels back his face. It was Ashton Kutcher all along. You've been punked. What was a non-sexual thing a friend or random person did that really turned you on? So, I was living in an apartment with 4 roommates, and 2 moved out just before March when my city went into lockdown. So it's just been me and 1 other roommate. For context, I'm a bi man and she's a bi woman. She's definitely cute, but I wouldn't say I have a crush on her or anything, It's totally platonic and there's zero sexuality tension, but a couple weeks ago, I was sitting on our living room couch and she just plopped down next to me to show me a funny meme, and she sort of leaned in accidentally and pressed her side up against me. I've been single for more than a year and I realize it was the first time I made physical contact with somebody since lockdown began, and just having my body reactivate all those oxytocin pathways again made me feel all sorts of ways.
And then she kissed my face, yeah. I'm falling. I was all in.